We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on how Mike McDaniel can adjust the offense for Tyler Huntley at quarterback, Snoop Huntley. It's going to be very interesting to see. We got clips here from Huntley himself when he was with the Ravens, the Browns. We got clips from the RG3 era when McDaniel was there, as like a receivers coach under the Shanahan stuff, how they used him, because you can use Huntley in some similar ways with the zone read, RPO, different things like that. I've got clips from the Packers, too, with how LaFleur's used Malik Willis in the past couple of weeks. And also got some Dolphins clips with how they can make things easy with him in the passing game. Obviously, I'm just going to show mostly quarterback-related things, not like running the ball with your running back. But even though that's what they should be doing, committing to the run. But I just want to show how they can make life easy for Huntley and how, they can get some advantageous looks in the running game. And how just having a quarterback that has running capabilities that can run zone read, how that opens things up. Because the running game is all about numbers. And adding that extra layer of a number back there for you're handing it off to your running back. You can leave someone unblocked on zone reads. It just adds to the running thing. And then he loves to throw to tight ends over the middle of the field. Dolphins started doing that towards the end of last week. Huntley likes to make quick decisions, get the ball out. He likes to take those easy throws. He will take them all day long. So I think getting him in a rhythm early on, and then he also do some of the play action stuff, make some throws down the field. It was tough to find some of this RG3 stuff. But some similar things I think you can do with Huntley. Like, he's not going to be a perfect player out there for you, but even when things break down and don't go perfect, I think he has the capability to do some things off script. So starting back here, it's just the zone read stuff. He can do this all day long. They love how they set this up. They leave actually this man unblocked, which is interesting. Usually you're leaving the man unblocked, like on the side you're faking it from, but they end up pulling across here. And they zone read to the edge defender. And this ended up being like his biggest play. And he changed direction and basically turns into like zone read with counter. And all he has to do is outrun that guy. And they actually end up running into each other. And then he works off the back of the pullers there and has all that room to work with. So just love that design. But then just so you can see like how athletic Snoop can be to make those plays. And then this is back in the RG3. I think his rookie season, things they were doing, zone read. They love to have like a tight end / fullback pull. They have basically like one of my favorite things that I saw the Packers do, I saw Washington do it, is on these zone reads. They leave the edge defender unblocked, and to make usually it's like, okay, he's reading the mesh point here. Is the quarterback going to hand it off or not? But since the tight end shows like he's going to block this edge defender, he becomes more focused on that, and then he shoots to the inside. He gives him a little hesitation there, and then gets back to the outside, and then it just gives him all this room to work with. So love that design, and you can expect to see that type of zone read look, I think, for sure. And this is just something that McDaniel has worked with before. Also, same thing even with like the Trey Lance, even though the Trey Lance era was short in San Francisco. McDaniel was there for that first year, and clearly they were adding plays to the playbook for that type of player. So it's not something he's unfamiliar with. That's why, I wanted to make this video and see things that he could do. Down in the red zone, I think will help down in the red zone too, because Dolphins have kind of struggled to finish in the red zone. They've tried running the ball without much success, but having a quarterback that can run, it's just an extra number down there where you can either use the running back as a lead, like almost, motion him out, get a guy out of the box, make the numbers even. But usually the quarterback is just like, if he's not a runner and you're not using zone read, he's basically a wasted number on the field for you, and the defense has an extra body there. But if you have the quarterback that's able to run, and he takes it as a QB keeper. That's why like wildcat plays can be so successful, because you get like an extra blocker, or you get like an extra man out there that can be used as a decoy, that type of thing. And then RG3 gets in the end zone, makes plays. That's where you can see the Packers doing it too. Same type of principle with the zone read. This guy goes down, and this is versus Tennessee. Like, if you watched my stream yesterday, the Packers really took advantage of Titans running zone read and just Malik Willis running, creating plays off script. This was the first touchdown they scored in the game. Big play capability, and the Titans very much struggled against it, and that's obviously the Dolphins' next opponent. So lots of things to work with here. Here's another example of similar thing that I was talking about earlier on the RG3 play. The tight end, who's lined up as like a fullback, basically straight out of that Washington playbook, exact same look. Shows he's going to, just running it to the right this time. Shows like he's going to squeeze the edge defender. He gets put in a conflict. Boom. Willis pulls. And then Tucker Kraft is a lead blocker out in space. Pancakes a a blocker or safety, and then the quarterback ends up picking just a huge gain. It's just an extra number advantage in the running game. It's all about numbers, angles, and it should help out for sure. And I think Tennessee is missing Jeff Simmons, and I think their edge defenders is probably their weakest part of their run defense. Like, they can attack the edges in run defense, like, but without Jeff Simmons, I think their interior becomes a little bit weaker too. But if they had Simmons, they're usually a very strong run interior. And then just like down in the red zone, direct snap, like you have the running back motion out wide, take the DB out of there, but then it's just, extra number now because the quarterback's getting the handoff. He's not handing it off to a running back being, kind of, a useless number, for lack of a better term. But then you just get to hand it off, run some whatever you want to do, power, counter, zone, scheme stuff, have your quarterback get down and then finish. I think that would be huge to help the Dolphins because they've really struggled run defense wise. And then the RPO element of it too. Like, look at the box count here. You start to run the ball successfully, you're going to get teams to start to stack the box. You got 5 across the board, so you got 8 in the box, 1 deep safety, 2 corners, so 8 in the box, and you only have, 7 guys here total. You have 5 linemen, this guy to block, and then you have the quarterback and running back running the zone read, and then similar concept, but he sees this, boom, and now you have an RPO element to it too. So the Dolphins always have run RPOs, but they haven't really had the zone read element of the RPO down, because Tua is not much of a runner, but he does a great job with the RPO game, and now you can add an extra element to it with where the quarterback can pull, but then also run with it, or potentially throw out a quick bubble to your receiver if the numbers make sense. It just really puts a lot of stress on the defense. Here's another example of like how you can use like play action out of it. Like, they really like sell RPO here because like Washington's pass blocking here, so it's play action, but they really sell RPO with like how they set this up. Like, Washington really doesn't get, like, their O-line like barely shows pass block here. They're really selling RPO at the catch, or at the point right there of attack with the fake handoff. RG3 doesn't even gain any depth in the pocket, so they're really selling like this could be an RPO, but it just ends up being play action, and then you hit your receiver down the field on a glance route. Obviously, something the Dolphins will attempt to run. The deep safety was so far off the screen, but I think Huntley can do some things like that. Here's some example of him, RPO, zone read type stuff. They're running it out of, gap scheme too, which is interesting. Usually, ends up out of read, so it's like a, QB read with counter or power with the RPO element where your receiver sits down. This is definitely, and like to this side of the field, it's not dissimilar to what the Dolphins actually like to run RPO, while it's actually similar to the seam rail slide, because this guy just goes vertical, this guy goes to flat, this guy can either sit down in the middle in space or keep working towards, the like on a glance route. It's actually kind of similar to what the Dolphins would do, this type of play. Huntley, but is more capable of escaping with his legs. He could run, but he sees Aguilar open, takes it for 3 yards. Those are the ways that I think McDaniel can really take advantage of, utilizing his skill set. And then in the more of the passing game stuff, Huntley is going to read space, like especially like on some early downs. He sees, 3-by-1, just pre-snap. If he sees space over the tight end and he knows he's running just a quick little hitch, he's going to take that every single day. And I love it, like make life easy. It's not something the Dolphins did a ton of or do a ton of, but when Tim Boyle came in the game, they gave him some quick and easy options. Just, tight end, identify the space, leverage of the defenders. He sits over the middle, boom, get him the ball, allow him to work upfield. That's something Huntley is very, very comfortable with doing, whether it's a, quick hitch, little slant, allow him to work after the catch. Dolphins were doing this later on. I think it just, like, it's obviously not something you can do all the time because then teams, are going to start squeezing it, taking it away. But I think it's something you got to make the teams respect because linebackers typically gain a ton of depth versus the Dolphins. Maybe won't be as much without Tua in there, but they usually get a ton of depth to take away, those throws over the middle that they like to throw to Tyreek or Waddle. But now you can, take advantage with whether it's Julian Hill, Johnny Smith, that type of thing, and then start working some play action off of it. Play action, deep crossers, whatever the concept is, whether it's Mills, Yankees, that type of thing. You can really take advantage of that, and it's something they were doing in Washington. Huntley very comfortable with doing it, like whether he loves to throw the tight end, he can throw like those corner routes, he can do it on like Y cross, that type of thing. He's very comfortable making some layered throws. That's why I think he gives you the best chance. Gains some depth, sees that these two players, these defenders' hips are opened up, so they're going to be gaining depth. You got to be able to read like body language and then throw with some anticipation layered over the flat defender to get the ball to Andrews there. So much to like, I think, with that element to his game. But the play action, and Huntley doesn't even, like, he's a player that doesn't really force, he doesn't force things either. Like, here's the play action, off of it, try to hit the glance. It's not really open. It's like he would have had to throw it behind, and it wasn't open, taken away over the top. It can be taken away from this throwing lane. He comes off of it. Second read, not there. Third read, doesn't have the strongest arm, but he can still get the ball out to the sideline and then make a completion. He can go through his reads. I have some good faith in Huntley, just kind of to show that, to see, show what he's kind of capable of. Loves throwing to the tight ends, more of these developmental throws. Like, you can throw these outbreakers. I think with Huntley, he's very comfortable with it. He'll slide in the pocket to create some throwing lanes for himself, but he really does love targeting the tight end. Whether it was Mark Andrews or Isaiah Likely, he had multiple big plays with both of them. But then just making plays with these on him. Like, look at Malik. This was the first play against Tennessee in this game for Malik. Look at the effect this has on the defense. Dolphins will do something similar. They'll play action the tosses too. But look at the linebackers. Everyone gets flowing horizontally. They shoot downhill. Tennessee's loves to get aggressive as run defenders. But then out of that, they usually like have some longer developing plays. I feel like they never just have like shallow crossers. But imagine like they have Jaden Reed running shallow cross here. But imagine, Tyreek or Waddle running a shallow cross out of that play action with all that space to work with. So I think making things easy on Huntley early on with those types of concepts like LaFleur, also from the Shanahan tree, this is things that they can take advantage of. Here we get to see, like, if you watch this, Y cross. So play action. This is things that Shanahan has done, things similar from the Shanahan tree. It's the play action, though. Create a clean pocket. Timing down the field, your two receivers are running deeper routes. You have the deep post, a dig behind it, but then the Y cross. Find that that's definitely something I think Huntley is capable of doing. And also just like rollouts. Huntley, when he was in Cleveland in the preseason, ran some rollouts. He didn't run too much under center stuff in Baltimore, but I think he showed in Cleveland, even though he was only there for a preseason, like he can do some under center stuff. Here they get the rollout. It's even not even perfect. Like he has people in his face. He has to reset his feet, find the tight end, working on the crossing route, and then get a completion. So lots of RPO, lots of zone read, lots of play action. These are elements that McDaniel is familiar with. He's been a part of. The Dolphins already run a ton of play action. They do a lot of rollout stuff like that, but I think it's even more important to do that with Huntley. And then the zone read stuff will be very new, but with that RPO element that they already kind of run, it's going to be very interesting to see how they take advantage of it. Watching that Packers film, which I'm sure he's definitely watched the Packers film because they just played the Titans, so he's watching he had to watch the Titans play because they're playing them this week. And he clearly, wants to take from what they're doing. He understands when he was with, Trey Lance, RG3, that there's some similarities there with things that Huntley can do. So it'll be interesting. Really, really fun dynamic that this is going to bring, I think. The Dolphins offense will, I think, at least, it's not going to be, as strong as it was last season, obviously. But I think it's going to show some moments, and it's going to show a lot more promise than it did in the last 2 weeks, especially against Seattle. Like, it was really bad, and against Buffalo. I think it's going to show more promise, like, overall, and just be a little bit more consistent. Still going to have its struggles, but should be at least more exciting to watch. So if you guys really do, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.